Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Monday, August 1st's energy mantra for today. So, today's energy mantra is I focus the power of my mind instead of allowing it to run me. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So, once again, today's energy mantra is I focus the power of my mind instead of letting it run me. So, a lot of times, what we don't realize is that we are way too apt to let our minds wander. We let our minds wander into the darkened corridors of our minds in which they have no reason to be there, but we let it happen. We let our minds wander into the past. We let them wander into the future. And that's always what we're doing. We're far too apt to let our minds kind of just drift and wander in and out of past and future instead of just being really present in the moment and allowing ourselves to focus on what is in front of us to do. Because if you really think about it, maybe you are writing something down, maybe you're working on something, and something else will come to your mind. And now you're distracted from what you were doing because now you're trying to focus on what you need to do. Or maybe you're doing something else and you start typing, you start writing, you're putting correspondence together, and you remember something that you should have done. And so now your mind is wandering over there. And our minds are so powerful that we don't even realize the power that we have in the moment. Because, like I said, we're far too apt to let our minds wander to the past or wander over into the future. And what we have to really allow ourselves to do is to become present, to not let our minds wander so much, to really do our best to stay focused in the moment, because it is in the moment that's where we receive guidance. In the moment is where we receive our aha moments. Our the now moment is where we get to be our most genius self. And we don't get to be our most genius self when we're focusing on the future or when we're focusing on the past. Our minds can be either used for creation or they can be used for destruction. And really, the question is, which one are you going to allow to happen? Our creativity is very powerful, it's very creative, but we have to focus that in instead of just letting it run rampant. Now, this is not to say that you can't, daydream, you can't have, fanciful thoughts or anything like that. It's simply to say, to begin to focus that energy of creation that is in you and a part of you, and focus that instead of just letting it go. Oh, look, there's something shiny over here, and now there's something shiny over there, and look at this, and look at that, and look over there, and look over there, and look over here, and look there, and look back there. Now look over there. Instead, we want to focus that. We're going to say, okay, where where can I really begin to focus this creative energy in my life? Because we all have this beautiful capacity, we all have this beautiful creative potential within us. It's just, are we willing to focus it so that it can be used for a creative endeavor instead of for destruction? Now, you may be asking, well, how am I going to use it for destruction? It's creative. It is. It is creative. But once again, we're much too apt to let our minds wander. So we are going forward. We're excited. Maybe we're focused in that moment, and then, oh, something shiny. And now we kind of start drifting over here, and wherever our mind is, that's where our creative potential is. So if you start drifting off to the past, well, you can't create the past because the past has already happened. So all you can do is really recreate it. And in truth, you can't really create the future because the future is in the now moment. So you're either recreating the past or projecting into the future. But if we just stay focused in the here and the now and use our mind's power to focus in that now moment, consider how wonderful and different life would be. Consider what would it would be like if you allowed yourself to use knowledge instead of knowledge using you. Now, you may think that sounds really crazy. How can knowledge use me? When we use knowledge, when we use that power of our minds, what we're doing is we are using it for clarity. We're using it to explain things. But when we let knowledge control us, what we're really doing is we are attaching to a fact, a figure, whatever that may be, and we are no longer using it to clarify or explain. Now, what we're doing is we're using that fact in order to prove that we are right, to prove that our personal preference, to prove that the fact that we know is, the one above all. And that's where we really want to be discerning when it comes to that knowledge. So are you, and that's a question that actually we have for today on our post at, I believe it's noon, is are you using knowledge or is knowledge using you? Once again, where's your focus? How are you using the knowledge? Or how are you using the knowledge? Or are you letting the knowledge use you? Where is your focus? Is it in the now moment or is it in the past or is it in the future? Just looking at that and then saying, okay, let's just get this, let me get my lens, if you will, and let me really focus in on this now moment and how this knowledge can be used to help me, how this knowledge can be used to maybe help others, how this knowledge can be used to clarify or explain something instead of, well, this knowledge proves I'm right. Because if you've worked with me for any amount of time in my personal mentorships or in any of my courses, one of my very favorite questions is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So that is today's energy mantra. Now, on August the 7th, once again, there is my free masterclass that I'm doing with my friend Deborah Bowen. You can register for that. I'll put the registration in the comments below. It is absolutely free to join. No, there is no cost to you. All you have to do is have Zoom, and of course, Zoom is free to download. It will be recorded. You do not have to be on camera, and it's going to be about affirming the future. We're going to be talking about affirmation. We're going to be talking about intention. We're going to be talking a lot about these topics, and it's going to be an interaction. This is not just her and I sitting on a Zoom class, looking at all of you, looking at us. This is an interaction. This is a time for you to really ask your questions about affirmation, about intention, and really learn maybe a new way of doing something, maybe where you've been blocked in the past about affirming something or about intending something. So if you are interested in joining with like-minded people in this type of environment of compassion, learning, and expansion, then feel free to come join us on August the 7th on Zoom. It's going to be wonderful. I'm super excited about it. And when you do register, not for the class, not only do you get the class, but you also get my free Claim Your Peace Now 5-day challenge. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And the reminder for today, focus, the power of your mind. Do not allow yourself to kind of drift to the past or drift into the future. Stay present in the now. If something does come up from the past or the future, maybe it's a trigger, maybe it's just something that rises up, you can pay attention to it in that now moment. That's the key. Once again, It's come up in the now. Okay, let me do what is in front of me to do, not let me do what I think I should do in the past or what I should have done in the future. Let me deal with it in the here and the now. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow.